Hello, everyone, and welcome to a brand new episode of the Anime Dudes podcast, the otherwise known as My Villain Origin Story. My
Mhm.
name is Bjorvio, and joining me on my villain origin story is none other than.
The Anime Dad, and this is my mediocrity. No, my hero. I was going to try to make myself an NPC in the My Hero Academia verse, but all right. If this is your villain origin story, this is my hero's mum origin story. I'd be Deku's mum in the whole field. Rather Deku's mum than Endeavor's father. Wouldn't you
Yep,
agree?
absolutely. I'm good with that.
Yeah.
Almost anyone's better than the man that probably raised Endeavor.
Yeah, but we're excited. We're very, very excited, and we have a few questions that we've prepared this whole week. We've taken time out of our busy schedules to prepare very inquisitive, exotic, wonderful questions for each other that we're just going to make up now on the spot. So, first question for Bjorvio, we've got three each. First question, I've been really liking these, is uh if you were the size of Andre the Giant, what would your shoe size be?
I think Shaquille O'Neal's is like a 20 something, so I'm gonna one up him and go 31.
Nice, nice. If you were Endeavor, would you ever shower?
Nah, nothing sticks to me if there's a bunch of flames coming off, so
I
I think
know.
I'm fine.
That's what I'm thinking as well. Like you wouldn't need to shower. And finally, One Piece has 1,200 episodes. It takes about 4 or 5 months if you watch it back to back. What is your name if you were in the One Piece universe?
That depends. Would I have a devil fruit?
You would. Your devil fruit would be the floor fruit, which change you into a floor person when you need to be, means you basically just become flat.
Okay, easy. My name in One Piece, confirmed. Someone needs to cast me in this because this is a great name. Would be Captain Plank.
Oh, I like it. Sounds like a SpongeBob character, but I really like that. What are your questions to me?
Okay, so if you were in, so as you said, One Piece takes about 4 or 5 months to really get caught up on. You're basically caught up. So my next question is, if you had 4 to 5 months to invest in one thing, what thing would you like to invest in?
Family time. I would spend time cuddling my children and my wife.
All right, perfect, perfect. Um, who wins in a fight between a swordless samurai or a pirate with no pistol?
Swordless samurai would, I reckon, because they'd be trained in the martial arts as well as swords, or they could use their arm as an extension of, as a replacement for their sword. So I'd say they take it.
All right, very good. And final question. Let's say that you found a magic ring and someone told you that you had to take it to a fiery volcano in order to destroy it. What would be the first meal you would eat before you left home?
I love how our questions go all the way around. It's like a roller coaster.
You never know what it's going to be.
No, I'd eat spaghetti and mince pasta with some cheese sauce on top. That's my favorite meal of all time. It gives you energy. And to be honest, I live basically right next to where that mountain would be. I'll just turn around, climb up, and then chuck the ring in there, and I'll be all good. But it basically is like that story. Do you know the stories? Our questions are like those stories that I used to hear in high school. I'm not sure if it was a cheer or something, but they used to say, oh, you decided to go skydiving, and everyone says, yay! But you forgot your parachute. Oh, everyone says, and then says, but you land on a big bale of hay. Yay! But there were so many needles in that hay. Oh, did you guys ever do that in school?
No, but I know what you're talking. Like we didn't do that at school, but I know what you're talking about from like different things I've seen on social media or something. So, and I'm sitting here like, man, I would have thrived in that.
Yeah, because you have the creativity to thrive in that. Um, so we're talking about one of our favorite characters, one of our favorite villains, and you have something to show the audience who are watching on YouTube, and we can describe it. But what do you have?
Ta-da! It
Mm.
is, for those listening on the podcast, it is a signed figurine of Dabi from his voice actor that says, "The past never dies." For those of you watching on YouTube, it's a signed figure of Dabi by his voice actor with a quote on it that says, "The past will never die."
And for those of you listening on SoundCloud, um, it's the same. But yeah, it's a great signature. It's one of your favorites in your collectibles, and Darby is a great character, and that's what we're talking about today. We're talking about Darby's dance, and
Oh, sorry. I thought you said dab. My bad.
sorry, I didn't see that. I was looking away. Dabbing is perfect. Dabbing, so what's it? Dabby's a better name. Dabby's dance. And what do you like about Darby?
Honestly, Dabi was one of those like for a while he was a really cool villain, but I suspected what was to come with what we're talking about today, and I was like, I mean, it is what it is. But the way that it was revealed, never could have guessed that. Never.
I didn't expect it, which is real silly of me, but I did not expect it to come. I really didn't. And Darby, he's kind of a freaky looking character. He's got those weird stitches all over his face, the scars. And is that from the heat of his flames?
I don't want to spoil
Oh.
anything for you, so I will not answer that, but it is described more in the manga.
That's exciting. Yeah, it's terrifying. He's probably the scariest looking villain they have. He's got a cool, calm, collected voice, and he has a fiery hot quirk. So that's a nice oxymoron right there. So Darby versus Deku with Deku in this current season, who would take the cake?
That depends. Does Deku still have all of his broken limbs?
He's got one broken arm.
Oh, Dabi, 100%.
Okay. Darby versus Mirio.
I think Mirio can take him. Well, Mirio's really good at dealing with long distance quirks, as we've seen, like when he fought Class 1A. Like he's not even looking at them, and they just permeate through him, no problem. So I don't think Dabi really would have a whole lot to bring, especially because he has to have a cooldown time, while Mirio really doesn't.
Mm, hmm hmm Darby versus Midnight.
That is such a combination I never thought of before. But I'm gonna say Dabi because he can attack at a wider range than Midnight can.
Mhm. Yeah, I can agree with that as well. If Darby was your school teacher in high school, would you get an A in maths?
I could see him being like a pretty chill teacher. Yeah, I could say so. I think I would.
You know what I get this is probably negatively impacting our favorite dad or mum, anime mum, but Eraserhead, I get similar vibes to Darby now and again. The cool, calm, collected, the tired all the time type guy. Um, I get similar vibes. Do you see that?
Yeah, I mean, we do. I kind of see that a little bit. I mean, when you think about really Dabi's one of his first introductions to the series was him versus Aizawa.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Which is a real cool. I only realized recently when Aizawa turns, he says Vlad. I didn't know what he said initially, but he was calling out to the other teacher. I thought he was that was Dabi's nickname he had for him, or like a surprise noise that he makes when he sees something scary. I didn't know he was calling out to the other teacher, so I just realized that recently after the third or fourth watch through. Um, but yeah, Darby's a cool character, and in this particular episode, does he start it off by pouring the water on his head? How does he start it off?
So Gigantomachia arrives on scene, and Dabi kind of walks out, and he says something along the lines of, like, "Hey, there you are. From up here, all of you just look like tiny little ants. Perfect. Shoto's with you too." And that's when Endeavor kind of looks at him angrily, says, Dabi. He's like, then he takes off the lid of the water bottle and says, "Hey now, don't be rude. You're acting like we've never met. Call me Toya. After all, that's the name you and Mom gave me."
You
And
you do that so
everything has
well,
changed.
and that's terrifying. That's a terrifying prospect. I mean, for Endeavor to get that news that his son, I mean, he doesn't love his children very much at all. Well, he didn't growing up. He didn't seem to love his children very much at all. But he just had that one track mind, and he had that focus to beat All Might, and he didn't care who he stepped on to get there. But he obviously cares for his children, like every father, and it would have destroyed him when his son, died as a younger person, and finding out that he's alive, not only alive, but a villain that's been actively trying to kill all the heroes. That would be a terrifying prospect.
Yeah, and not only that, but Dabi does, like, at the same time, he does the video that goes out to everyone explaining his backstory, explaining that he's killed, I think, over 30 people by this point in time. But not that Endeavor knows that, because Toya didn't say that to Endeavor.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And and Darby finding out your son. I actually got asked this question a while back, and I think it's quite relevant in today's conversation. But let's say your child, Bjorvio, your little boy, comes to you and says, Dad, I I accidentally killed a person. I've got them in the trunk of the car. Uh, it was a mistake. I'm so sorry. What's your next step?
I don't know. I think I would want to find out as much information as I could, but I I don't know. I mean, I like I wouldn't help. I think I would ultimately turn him in, because that's the right thing to do, but it'd be one of those, like, I wouldn't I wouldn't sleep at night
Hmm.
for years after that.
Yeah, that'd be a terrifying conversation to have. It happened to me a couple of days ago, and that's why I'm bringing it up now. The same, my daughter's only 6, so it was so it was more of a surprise. But no, that would be very scary, and no doubt Endeavor, he had every right to be shocked and scared and in a bit of a daze, and has lost his will to fight and even live. Um, but what was your thought process as he was talking?
My so when it I remember reading this in the manga, and it was one of those, I don't exactly remember where I was, but I remember sitting there, just I couldn't put it down, because yeah, I knew to some extent that Dabi was Toya Todoroki. I didn't know that he was going to utterly destroy Hero Society with one video. Like, I'm just sitting here just completely dumbfounded that he's pulled this off. And first off, nobody knew, not even anyone in the league. And now all of Hero Society, the Society of Japan knows Endeavor's not a good person. Endeavor messed up real bad, and his family and kids took the brunt of it. But not only that, he's the new number one. So, they used to look up to, I am All Might, the symbol of peace and justice, number one hero, to Endeavor. And now, as soon as they switch, they find out number one's a piece of trash. Kind of like Inji Todoroki's not a good person. And it's just all of this is happening at once. And I think the anime did so much justice by showing us different perspectives of like some kids in their dorm room are like, I can't believe that this can't be true. And then, showing him like later, you see like his friend saying, well, he's the one that got the news out first. So there's no evidence against him. People are going to believe it. And I thought that was a really good but terrifying point.
Yeah, it was. It was. And I'm sure there were some people who didn't believe it straight away necessarily, but there was a lot of proof. He said it very, very well. And his whole reason behind it was to take out the people's trust in heroes, which I believe he completely succeeded in. And it was the catalyst and the start of a very, very scary time for all of Japan and all of the world. So it was, yeah, very, very, very smart for him to do that on behalf of the villains, and it definitely helped the villains' cause. Tremendously helped the villains' cause.
Yeah.
And then Shoto, obviously Endeavor's shocked. Shoto begins fighting Dabi at that point.
Well, Dabi comes in with the Flash Fire Fist Prominence Burn, which he named after Endeavor's move. Because that's also what Dabi was taught to do by Endeavor all those years ago. So it felt like complete justice for him to come in with that scream that just there was some things that clicked. The voice actor's performance was incredible on that line. And right before the final moment, we get another reveal of a hero coming back. And Dabi's restrained. And we have the best entrance in My Hero Academia.
How good was that entrance? You see him, and the next episode is Threads of Hope, but you see Best Jeanist up there in the airplane saying, "I'm coming back." You think he's dead. I don't know how they did that. They must have killed someone random, maybe a hobo. To put his body.
No, it was Jeanist. It was Jeanist. Hawks later explained he like put him in this state where his heart stopped beating and actually gave Jeanist to the League so they could clone his quirk. But then on the day of the raid, he got Jeanist out of there in time. That was all Hawks.
That's incredible. I didn't pick up on that. That's amazing. Okay. And his quirk's amazing, and he comes down and wants to take everyone over and connect and control and protect, and it's great. It's a great entrance, but he's not fully where he needs to be. His health is not 100% and he's struggling. Yeah, really good point to move on to our improv. Is there anything you wanted to bring up on Dabi's dance?
Actually not on Dabi's dance, but there's one scene that I want to leave off on that happens just right after this. And based off your eyes, you know what scene I'm talking about. Where the Nomu are about to attack. We interrupt this regularly scheduled episode of the Anime Dads podcast for a dab break. Anyway, they're about to attack Genus. Deku is trying his hardest to get up and do something. Everyone's trying to protect Genus. And all of a sudden, you see a face come out of the ground. followed by a red cape and power.
Mm, mm. Goosebumps, goosebump moment. That was truly goosebumps. And it was, yeah, incredible. I was like, I remember seeing him and I was watching with my daughters and we were all like, yes! We shouting to ourselves on the couch. It was, he's back, because, I mean, to be honest, I didn't think he'd make a tremendous difference for some stupid reason. I thought these Nomus, these high-powered Nomus are too strong for him. But he did a really, really good job, as we'll talk about
Very
the next
least,
episode.
he gave Genus a chance.
He did. He did. Yeah. That was awesome. That was awesome. That was so many goosebump moments in that episode. And finishing off with our main man, Mirio Togatur. Now, I'm going to be a reporter, and Dabi has just released that footage. And the reporter finds Darby on the street, and you be Darby, I'll be the reporter, and we see what happens. Is that okay?
Yep.
Oh, hello. Reporting live from K Street in downtown Tokyo. I'm with Darby here. Now, Darby, could you just explain what happened there? That was you overtook our screens, and we just had some incredible news. Are you now a hero?
Call me Toya, but you could all. I always wanted to be a hero, but my overbearing father never really let that dream become a reality. You see, being the son of the number one hero endeavor always had its weaknesses. So if you want to call me your hero, your liberator of Japan, who am I to stop you?
Well, we definitely could start calling you that, Toya. Toya. Great to have you on the show, and I'm really, really happy because everyone's talking about you now. All over Twitter. There's some things out there. You seem to be a hero to all the fatherless. Now, what's it like growing up without a father?
Well, the old man was always someone hard to impress, but growing up fatherless was actually the best thing that could ever happen to me because I learned how great I actually had it. I learned that not to live in the shadow of an old man with outdated ideology. No, the best thing I could do was learn to be myself, to develop my quirk to the very best it could be, and to spread liberation all across this wonderful land.
Okay. All right, you're quite a serious guy. What's your best joke, Darby? I mean, let's bring we're kind of a lighter side of life show, and you very serious and making us a little bit scared. So, give us your dad joke.
All right, I got one for you. Knock, knock.
Who's there?
Not Endeavor, he doesn't love you.
That's actually so good. Okay. Good. Good. That's awesome. That's the best joke I ever heard. Not Endeavor, he doesn't actually love you. I'm gonna post that.
No, I am so proud of that one.
Yeah, that is a really good joke. I can see him saying that as well. Okay, cool. Well, let's do one more, and maybe you could be Darby again because you did so well. Darby, he is trying to be at family therapy, or personal therapy, and he's talking about the issues that he's had with his father. I'm the therapist. Okay. So, Toyu, it's so lovely to have you here. Now, you said on your form you've got some daddy issues. Where did that begin?
Call me Toya. After all, that's the name that I put on the form. But if you want to know where my issues come from, you probably need to know about my old man. His name is Inji Todoroki. I'm sure
Oh.
that name rings a bell or two.
Yeah, I do know him. He's actually one of my closest friends. Really, really good guy. And he's brought up some good kids in a tough climate. Yeah, he struggles. He struggles, but he gets through. Uh,
Is that really what you think of my old man?
I
That you
just
think that he's a wonderful human being and a fantastic dad? He is the spawn of hell and will
Yeah.
rot in it for all eternity.
Okay, well, I think I can guess where your trouble comes from. Now, it wouldn't have been easy for Endeavor to have a child like you. You know, you're quite negative. You come across a little bit angry. Fathers need time to themselves too, Mr. Toya. Wouldn't you agree with that?
The old man had plenty of time when he was abandoning me during my training sessions, if that's what you're talking about.
Toya, you know what? I've got some advice. I've got some advice. All right. How about you have kids, okay? Try be the number one villain and see what type of father you are going to be. Okay? See how good of a father you are.
You know, I'd never thought about having my own kids. Maybe I've been too hard on Endeavor. Maybe I really need to give him a second chance. Or maybe you need to get on the ground like the trash you are.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
It's one of my favorite lines he says in One's Justice too.
Get on the ground like I saw your Instagram story the other day of the cool. Who was that guy that had the coolest costume? That fat guy.
That was Fat Gum. I literally just went through and went, how many different pieces of stuff can I put on there? So it's Fat Gum carrying Fat Gum on his back, wearing Bakugo's gauntlets, and I want to say like somebody's headpiece that completely covers his head. Like you can't even see his eyes. He's just so covered. And when you're fighting as him, there's so much stuff on him, and he's so big that it makes the game lag consistently.
That was awesome. Fat Gum with Fat Gum on his back is a perfect hero. That should be a new design for his costume.
Yes, it gives a whole nother meaning to Fat Taxi. I think I
Uh,
also put Mineta or Dark Shadow on his leg, one of the two, something like that. I don't remember.
oh my goodness, Manetta on his leg. Okay, no, great episode. Thank you again, everyone. You guys are brilliant. Please keep reviewing, sharing, liking, following us on Spotify. And we've got some really exciting things coming up. We've got a competition coming up. We've got hopefully a bit of a D&D Dungeons and Dragons campaign coming up. You'll hear more about that sometime soon with voice actors. We've got some really, really exciting things coming up. And even if we didn't, to be honest, you should be here just for us. We're cool. We're cool people. We're very, very cool people. Probably the coolest people in your lives. So if you want to add to your own personal coolness, I'd recommend continue listening. And maybe Dabi can take us out today.
Thank you all so much for listening to the Anime Dudes podcast. We really appreciate the fact that you tuned in today. If you didn't already catch it, my name is Toya Todoroki, and I'll be watching you to make sure that you appear in the next episode where we get to listen about my old man being in a hospital. If that's not the greatest thing ever, then I don't know what is. So stay tuned.